Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Hey Everybody podcast, episode 68, probably. I can no longer say week 68, can I? Because we took a couple weeks off there when I was moving and that kind of thing. Speaking of moving, we're really finally, I think feeling like fully settled and at home. My habitat here is in a constant state of development and that kind of thing. There's always going to be like new stuff back here. See this card right here? My wife got me with the alien from Alien on it. I know it has a name. It's called like the something or other. Leave me alone. But it's got the alien on it, and it says, "You make my chest burst." That's pretty nice. It's pretty good. She's constantly doing stuff like that. And I try to do the same. I recently got her some flowers with like a poop emoji balloon that I stuck in it. And she calls it the bouquet. It's pretty good. And this isn't rambling. This is sort of what I wanted to talk about today, actually. Because Tori and I are genuinely in each other's lives. And we care about each other and we think about each other and that kind of thing. And I've been thinking a lot about the people that we sort of convince ourselves are in our lives, but are not. And the reason I've been thinking about this is because I've been working on some things. And anytime I work on things, especially like live things, like show bills and that kind of stuff, I think about the criticisms that have come at me in the past when I've done things like that. Some of them are valid and some of them are not. The thing is, what I do, making songs and putting on shows and even, designing t-shirts and making a podcast and that kind of thing. You put yourself out there and you sort of invite people to have an opinion. I don't view it that way. I'm sort of inviting people who like my stuff to enjoy it. And if you don't, you can just keep it moving. But people come with opinions and you have to just sort of accept, like, yeah, sometimes I'm literally on a stage, with lights and a microphone. People are going to have thoughts and they're going to share them with you. And sometimes that's awesome. Sometimes people like your stuff and it means a lot to them and you get to hear about it and that's great. Sometimes people just don't care at all. I've had some of those more lately, booking some shows, sometimes you just got to play shows, and sometimes they're not the perfect show or the ideal show or how you might prefer to sort of show your art to people, but you just got to do it. And then the third thing is sometimes people give you opinions that like they don't like you. They don't like your songs. They don't like you personally. If you're watching this podcast, you probably know one of the sort of maybe interesting or notable things about my music is that I present it in two very different ways. If you come see me with my band, it's very loud. It's like a full-on rock and roll show. And then you might come see me by myself, and it's very quiet. I do a lot of finger picking, and it's a folk show. I love them both, but a lot of people prefer one or the other. And they don't often express that in the way that I might, or the way I might prefer. They don't often say, "Man, oh man, I love coming to see your band. You guys are so fun." Or, "Man, I love coming to see you play solo. I love folk music. I love the stories," and that kind of thing. What they will say is, "Man, your solo show is boring. You got to do more stuff with the band." Or they'll say, "Man, your band is too loud, and I can't understand what you're saying. I wish you'd play more solo shows." Or at the merch table, if I play a solo show, they want a record that sounds just like that, and I don't always have one. And then sometimes, I'll put out an announcement of a show I put together, and there will be some criticisms that the lineup isn't enough this, or it's too much that, or whatever. And sometimes those are good things to think about, and sometimes I feel like, why don't you try it? Why don't you put on because the thing about putting together a bill is that there's the bill. It's trash day. Hear the garbage man? Old windows. There's the bill that you initially envisioned, and then you butt up against other people's availability, their willingness, just the people you know. You know, I have long wanted to collaborate with someone who raps really well, but I don't really know anybody who raps that well. I don't know if I should. I think I might know some people that rap, just not very well. They probably don't watch this. It's hot coffee. I've already switched to decaf today. I'm at that age now where at a certain point in the day, I got to go decaf if I want to sleep at all tonight. So the lineup that eventually comes out is very often not exactly the one you had in mind, but people will still criticize it, and you can't always tell people. Occasionally someone will say like, yeah, there should be more people like this on this bill. And I know I asked people like that and they ignored my email. They asked for an obscene amount of money. They just said no. And you can't always, or shouldn't always, announce that. I can't say like, hey, I tried to do what you want me to do, but it turns out that person's a bit of a butt. So anyways, all this to say, those kind of criticisms or judgments of what I'm doing, I don't think ever or hardly ever come from people I might find myself sharing a meal with or a long drive or a cup of coffee. They would come on Facebook, basically, social media, people I barely know. And I had this realization the other day. I was talking to Tori, and when I got kicked off of Facebook and then sort of very vaguely tried to come back, but I never really did anything, and then got kicked off again. What I noticed is, so back in the day, I would post something on Facebook, a song, a joke, a really thoughtful, like long form essay, whatever, a political opinion, blah, blah, blah. And I might find myself getting, 200, 250, 300 likes or interactions or whatever. And there'd be some comments and that kind of thing. And I think my brain started to think like, these are people that care about what I think and what I have to say and that kind of thing. And maybe they were, I don't know. But what happened is I got kicked off of Facebook, and in the weeks that followed all the way up to now, I did not get an extra 500 hits to my website a week. Views of the podcast did not go up. Even like Spotify numbers did not go up. Largely, those people that would say, to my face at a show or in a comment section that they loved me, those people just sort of forgot about me forever. And I think that would make some people sad. It makes me very happy. Not maybe that like they forgot about me forever, and I certainly would love the audience. You know what I mean? It's made some things very difficult professionally to not have a Facebook page. And specifically to not have that Facebook page. But I want to live a very small life. I would like to make things that are at least presented to a lot of people. I don't need everyone to like it. I don't expect everyone to like it. But the worst feeling in the world is to have stuff that you're proud of that like I can't even get into people's field of vision or into their ears for them to make the judgment of. They just don't even know it exists. That's a terrible feeling that I deal with a lot. But I don't want a bunch of people I don't know to think that they know me because they've heard a song or seen a show or even watched a podcast, I think to really know someone, you'd have to be privy to things that they're just never going to put in some people might put in a song or a podcast or talk about a show. I would not. And some of that is just, private, like sad stuff. Some of it is stuff I'm not proud of. Like, maybe I have a temper or I got really frustrated with my son the other day or whatever. And I'm not comfortable with a huge number of people thinking that, oh, I know Christopher Gold. We're friends. And it's like, you've been to his house? You ever had a meal with him? You ever gone on a road trip with him? You ever, been in the studio with him when something breaks and doesn't work? And would you still like him then? I was just telling a friend of mine, we were having a long conversation about something else. And I said, there's a specific show that my old band played. My old punk band, the Dirty Rotten So-and-Sos. We played a show, and we get to the venue, and I went outside to move my car, and my car wouldn't start. So my car is broken. I go inside to set up my gear, and I was using 2 amps at the time, and one of them wouldn't turn on. So my amp's broken. And then mid-set, some drunk guy was harassing my wife, and I responded. And I was telling my friend, if anyone saw that show or met me at that show and then never interacted with me again, they're walking around thinking that I'm a dick or that I'm an angry guy or, whatever. And it's easy to write off that opinion, but you have to apply that same logic to people that think you're great. You know what I mean? If someone comes to see me play live and I'm really excited about the show and I'm getting paid good and I love the headliner and the trip there was great and we're staying in a nice hotel and oh my gosh, they fed us this great food and we sold a bunch of merch. Those people, if they never see me again, will think, man, that Christopher Gold, he's the greatest. He's so nice and funny and he's got this great perspective on life. And they're wrong too. You know what I mean? And it really struck me that when I, was removed from Facebook or I left Facebook, 99 point something % of the people that interacted with me on Facebook did not come try to find me. They did not follow me away from this platform. And I was taking their critiques very seriously. I was taking their thoughts and ideas very seriously. I was taking our Dick Fingers relationship fairly seriously. And I was having some concern about, I shouldn't say this, it will upset people, or I shouldn't do that, it will upset, or I should do this, people like when I do that. And then I realized in real time, in my real life, like these people don't care about me at all. You know what I mean? They interacted with me because I was there. But the second I left, most of them, like immediately, just forgot all about me. Or seemingly through their actions, forgot all about me. And that's liberating. That's pretty fun to start going, most of the things I was worried about, I should not be worried about. Because they're not in my life, really. So if they don't like it, who cares? And the other thing you realize is, how much effort and energy am I going to put into trying to please these people if Mark Zuckerberg can make a decision that totally ends our relationship? Like, why would I even invest in that? I don't know. Like, it just seems like a waste of time. And people say this about our whole lives, and I'm thankful that I got to experience it through the lens of getting kicked off Facebook. But they say, like, you're killing yourself for a job that if you died on the way to work Friday, they would replace you by Monday, or at least be efforting to do so. And you're, sometimes putting yourself in real harm's way, speeding through traffic because you can't be late for work. I was having lunch with my wife at this diner we go to all the time, every Friday. And there was a TV on, and this guy was talking about the steps to take if you're dealing with a lot of work stress. Like, are you worried you're not going to get that promotion? Here are 5 steps you can take at work to maybe get the promotion. And it never came up that, like, you could stop caring altogether. And I know, like, we have to work. And again, I have to play shows sometimes that, like, oof. If it, I have I find myself very often in the winter taking shows where I am background music, if that. I played a show very recently where the amount of time they wanted, I played 37 songs, and I think people clapped twice. They just don't care at all. And that's when you have to, kind of switch your focus and your motivation and realize, like, still got to work, still got to pay the mortgage and that kind of thing. But when we find ourselves stressed out about these things, the people that come to help us, they never tell us, like, well, change your perspective. Don't make it about, oh, I got to be successful in this way, or I got to get this promotion. Just try to free yourself from that burden. They just teach you how to handle the burden. There were moments where I found Facebook very stressful, and there were moments where people would kind of come at me because of who I am. They recognized my name, or they thought they knew me, and they didn't like something I had done. And this was like all over the left and right. Frankly, it was mostly people on the left that didn't like this opinion I had, or this thing that I had said, or this joke that I had made, or this bill I had put together, or whatever. And I would get advice about how to deal with that, but the advice was never, shut your phone off and throw it in the river, and it'll be like all those people just vanished. It was never, just delete your Facebook page, and it'll be like those people never existed. We don't get that kind of advice from people. When we're stressed out about work, very rarely do people tell us, like, maybe you need to get a new job. Maybe you need to stop defining yourself with your professional successes. Maybe, that kind of stuff. And I fear I may begin to ramble here, but it's just something I've been thinking about a lot, about figuring out what's real before you decide what to care about. And I think people make that mistake. I think a lot of times we're sat in a room with people that we love and that love us, and we're all on our phones dealing with and reading about and interacting with people that would forget you in a heartbeat if you literally died. You know what I mean? As far as a lot of these people are concerned, I think I had like 4,000 people following me on Facebook maybe, and I bet more than 3,500 of them haven't thought about me in a month. You know what I mean? And they were calling me brother, and they were saying, I love you. And they were saying, I love your family. And I was giving these people time, and I was sometimes very concerned about what they thought or felt. And it didn't matter at all. Because when that relationship was taken away from me, nobody, like I said, I'm very findable. It's not like the attendance of my shows went up because, I just miss seeing you on Facebook and I want to come see it live. It's not like people are coming to my website more or watching my podcast more because I just miss you so much because you're not on Facebook. They just don't care. And maybe that's true for a lot of us. Maybe they don't care about you either. And maybe that's awesome. Maybe you're free now. You know what I mean? Relationships, I think good ones, will have challenges, and sometimes they should be hard because you should be working on them. But the fact that things should be hard and that love is not always just like bunnies and butterflies, but sometimes it's hard conversations and late nights and that kind of thing, means we shouldn't just be open to having relationships with 3,000 people on the internet. You know what I mean? Because I'll even tell you guys, like, people that watch this podcast, they know a lot about me, but they don't know anything that I haven't volunteered. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably, I'm trying to think, there's probably one guy who has been in my band that would tell you that I'm not a good dude. I think he's wrong, but he would tell you that, and I'm not going to have him on the podcast to do so. Maybe there's people that knew me 10 years ago that think I'm a butthole. Or, like I said, people who were at that show where everything went wrong and I lost my temper, they think I'm an angry dick. And that's fine. Because in the time they knew me, they were right, I guess. So yeah, I've really been interested in investing my time better and trying to tell myself. I think a lot of time our brain just goes right to, oh, I'm worried about this or I'm stressed about this. And we have to get in front of that and go like, first, who are these people? And if they're sort of nameless, faceless strangers on the internet or something similar, or if it's a boss who would replace me in an hour if I died, or wouldn't give me time off to go, have a kid or something like that. Maybe we shouldn't be worried about what they think. And maybe we should endeavor to put ourselves in positions where it doesn't matter as much. And that's something I've been working on too, as I play these shows that maybe aren't creatively fulfilling and they don't really help my ego at all. And in fact, they're the opposite on both counts. I have been telling myself though, like, but they're all mine and I didn't have to go through someone's manager and I don't have to be willing to do this or that or the other thing. And I don't have to, I can just go play these shows with my songs and I can make some money and not have to worry about like going on Facebook and trying to promote it and that kind of thing. And that feels really good. There's a freedom in that. And there's a lesson in that too about perspective when it comes to doing stuff we might rather not do. Maybe there's a different way to approach it. Whew. I had a lot of coffee this morning. And maybe I'm talking too fast. I don't know. Let's do some recommendations. Let's get you out of here. Coming at you with like some mellow stuff, maybe to counteract the roller coaster ride you just went on with me. So up first, this record is called For the Morning, and it is by Tyler Ramsey. I can't remember if I recommended this or not. I have a list of things I have done on the podcast, and this is not on that list, but I feel like I recommended it to you guys. So if I did, I'm not going to apologize because, it's a good record. I'm recommending it again. Tyler Ramsey used to play guitar in a band called Band of Horses, who are very good. And they have a new one coming out too next year. But this is a solo record. It's not solo in that like there's no other people on it. There are other musicians. There's some great pedal steel and that kind of thing. But he's a wonderful guitar player. He does a lot of like fingerstyle guitar. And there's kind of a 70s sort of mellow, reverby, folky, almost psychedelic vibe to this record. It's very calming and I like it a lot. And I think you should check it out. And then up next, this record is called O, and it is by Damien Rice. This was a hugely popular record when it came out 20 years ago. Yeesh. I saw him live on this tour. It was wonderful. He is an Irish singer-songwriter. This record skews very folky and quiet, and it's brilliant. And I've been listening to it for 20 years, and I just recently kind of pulled it out and dug back into it, and just love it. It's very, like I said, very calming and nice, and I dig it. And the production of this record, he made this record basically himself in a lot of different places with like a mobile studio. And the production of the record is such that like there are times where all you hear is his voice and the guitar is just barely there and you really have to listen for it. And then it's a very dynamic record. One of my issues with modern music, and I won't get to it like inside baseball here, but they compress everything so it's all this volume. This whole song, it starts at this volume and then it stays at this volume. And if you've been in a room where people are playing music that like, if just an acoustic guitar is playing, it might be this volume. And then when the bass comes in, you notice that. And then when people start singing, it gets a little bit louder. And Damien Rice makes records that do that. And I like that a lot. Damien Rice makes records that you almost feel like I'm in a room and he's playing this song with these people. And I really like it. So, as always, I hope that this made sense. I have suspicions it may not have, and I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't. But I remembered to use the right mug today. And yeah, we're getting more shirts printed, so we'll have every size available. And we're getting a new shirt printed, hopefully soon, that I'm very excited about. Some people won't be, because it combines my creative life with a thing that I like a lot that not everybody who's into music also likes. It's a whole thing, but I won't give it away. But I'm excited about it, and I'm excited for Thanksgiving. I hope you guys have a good Thanksgiving, and you know, I hope you spend some real time with real people that you're really in relationship with, because at the end of the day, our joy that we experience and our connection to other people, that's all that makes this life a life. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it's just 80 years of buying shit you don't need until you die. Also, stay home on Black Friday. You know what I mean? If you want to check my schedule, I'm playing a show on Friday at a lovely winery that I like a lot, and they have really good wood-fired pizza, and it's free. Come do that. Don't, it's not going to make you happy. Going out and buying more stuff, getting trampled at a Walmart. Just don't. Ugh. Makes me sad to see how many musicians I follow in the last few years have gotten into this Black Friday sale. And it's like, why? Do you think, I don't know. I shouldn't talk about it. Because it's something, I don't like to talk about things that I don't have empathy for. And I don't have a ton of empathy for just blind capitalism and bands slapping their logo on a lighter or a mouse pad or something, and it's 36% off, and I don't care. Get out of here. Oops, my camera cut off. I reached my maximum recording time, I guess. I don't know what that means. So I'll just say this. I don't know what got cut off. I'll have to go back and edit and check. I hope you guys are happy and well and spending time in real relationships with real people. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.